Hello and welcome back to MDG Media, as well as to the exciting final round action of the 2024 Copenhagen Open, an Elite Series Disc Golf Pro Tour Europe event. We have an incredible field and a fantastic course awaiting you. Only 18 holes separate these competitors from greatness. I'm Connor Wood, and with me, Elias Luukkonen.
What's up, Connor? What's up, viewers? Nice to be here once again. This is gonna be one of the most prestigious events that we've really ever had in Europe. Elite Series, that's the highest tier of an event we can have besides a major, of course. And what an incredible card we have for today's round. Jesse Nieminen shot 13 under in round 2, hot round of the tournament so far. He's absolutely dialed in right now.
Another man who is averaging an incredible pace after traveling overseas, Ulibarri, finds himself here in second, just behind Jesse. He's looking to make a claim to his first Elite Series win in 13 years.
And Niklas Anttila, of course, no stranger to winning Elite Series events. This year he already has one from the US, looking to claim another one here on his home continent.
Joining them, a very young and up-and-coming player, Eetu Tuominen. Elias, what do we know about him?
Yep, incredibly young, only 16 years old, from near the Tampere area in Finland, a big disc golf area. He said he wasn't that nervous before the final round, so that's good on him.
Incredible. That will serve him well here on hole 1, a 175-meter par 4 with a straight shot, and then as the fairway bends softly to the left, you navigate the low ceiling and big trees towards this guarded green with OB on all sides as well. It's certainly an attackable hole, but really gets your mental set.
And Jesse Nieminen, he has a great game for this course, especially since he has improved his backhand from prior years. Always had a great forehand, always has been a great putter. But look at that powerful backhand sweeping hyzer inside, and that's going to be perfect.
Give it up, Ulibarri!
Paul is out here this weekend playing really good golf, has been laser focused and fantastic off the tee as well as on the green. We see him keep it down the middle here, and that's all that's needed. He'll have a longer distance to the green, but well done to keep it safe.
Eetu, Tuominen!
And Eetu, of course, a young player, still developing his game, but he already has an incredible backhand and a great putter. He's going on the inside line, just like Jesse did, and that's going to be in prime position.
So much support for Niklas when he plays in Europe. Just a fantastic thrower of the disc, incredibly smooth, and has all the skills to win at the very top level. And he's shown that already this season. Great addition to our final day lead card, Niklas Anttila.
Yeah, Niklas was definitely the favorite of winning the event. Just looking at the betting sites that are actually offering some bets for disc golf. That's nice to see, maybe a sign of the sport getting bigger, as Ulibarri, a surprisingly bad approach shot. He was too far off to the right, too high. He's going to start off with a par most likely.
Niklas, from a similarly wide position, keeps it down the middle, using the width provided to him, and skips on up. Really good control of that shot there. We see Eetu on this inside line, and he is flirting with danger. Another very surprisingly errant shot.
Yeah, surprising, and if he didn't tell me he wasn't nervous, I would think that was all the nerves. But one player that's clearly not nervous is Jesse. He's going to be literally under the basket for the birdie. And looks like we already have some separation. Eetu there parked for the bogey, and Paul just pitching up for the par. He's going to be losing one stroke on Jesse already on the first hole.
And we'll see what they're left with here. Hole 1, really a good differentiator in terms of possibility. A lot of birdies will be had by the field, actually 34% here in this final round. But it's certainly capable of bringing some over par scores as well. And a great one to get us started. Elias, talk to us about hole 2.
Yeah, hole 2 with actually the same exact birdie percentage as hole 1, though it's a much shorter par 4, only 143 meters. You're playing through this gap off the tee, really want to throw something straight, hopefully all the way to or over this road that we're flying over right now. If you can do that off the tee shot, you're gonna have a lot of options for the second. Not much distance, but a few trees to contend with, and that OB road only about 5 or 6 meters behind the basket. Definitely a hole you want to pick up and need to pick up.
Jesse getting us started is going for this very aggressive inside forehand line, but you see him connect with an early tree. He will be in the thick rough of that center bushes mess. Niklas going with the more traditional straight shot. Great with the backhand, was clear the whole way, and a nice height to mitigate the distance.
And Paul here a little bit high on the ceiling, though he does take a good kick off the branch. He's gonna be still in okay position. Eetu with a similar looking shot, but hits the branch square in the middle. Now this is a really tough birdie. You can still reach the basket from here with a very powerful sidearm, but looks like he's fading out early. And yeah, that's gonna be, in the best case, only a pitch up under the basket for par.
Paul here off the early ceiling is also left with this shortcut gap, opts for the spiking backhand hyzer and brings himself to a just about circle's edge. Good on him to manufacture a look. We see Jesse from the wilderness just spiking one in. Totally blind. Fantastic course awareness there.
Yeah, really well done. And Niklas going with a full spike hyzer, almost a grenade type of overstability on that disc. That's gonna be good birdie for him. Let's see Eetu here just pitching over the bushes. Bit of a tester left, potentially in the final round with big pressure.
Speaking of big pressure, Paul Ulibarri eats that one for breakfast. Gets his first birdie of the round here. We see this tester for Eetu to save the par after scrambling. And I don't see any nerves there, Elias.
Yeah, no nerves, you know. I don't think he was lying when he said not that much nerves for him. I think he's just excited to be playing. This is the biggest stage of his career by far, you know, being on the Elite Series lead card final day. And while he is losing strokes to everybody else on the card here, I don't think he's gonna be too pressed about that. But 3 good birdies by the card. Let's see if they can do it on hole 3. How is it, Connor?
Yeah, this is a long one. A 267 meter par 4 as the tee is oriented. A lot of players will opt for that gap on the right through the trees to try and cut some of that distance off, where they'll break into an open field. A lot of width on this. Ending to the left is slightly more favorable if possible, as it will open up your approach back into this well-guarded green. These late trees, quite difficult to get through cleanly, and that high grass, a common filtering zone for circle 2 birdie looks.
This first shot plays really good for Jesse's forehand. Just wants to hammer it flat, and that's gonna be a perfect shot. He hit the gap square in the middle, and he should be out there in the open field.
Niklas is shaping this turning anhyzer through the gap and finding all of that space. Was it a roller, Elias?
Yeah, I think he did go for a roller. I was wondering in round 1 when he was lining up that steep anhyzer angle, like what is he doing? But I guess the roller makes a lot of sense, as Paul also hit the gap and everybody on lead card trying to go through the right side. Eetu getting a little bit caught up, and that's going to take the birdie out of play. But still a relatively simple par from here.
And knowing that he doesn't need to end towards the green now, bringing birdie out of play. He's able to play full hyzer angle. Does still push that tree a little bit, but fortunate to break through into the fairway. We go to Paul now, playing the big hyzer approach. Now his danger here is going over OB, but as long as he has the late stability and can swing back inbounds, it is one entrance to the green, and that was not so clear. We'll see Jesse's bid at the same line now.
Yeah, yes, a little bit wider here. This is what you really want. And looks like a little bit short, but that's going to be a putting opportunity for the birdie. Believe maybe also a bit of a power difference between Paul and Jesse, who actually does have a lot of power on his backhand, even though he's not particularly well known for it.
And it has been great to see him integrate that backhand more and more, particularly this season. Niklas as well finds himself in circle 2. As Paul, on that approach, catches something on the way, slowing him down. Certainly not a freebie. Eetu, however, with the jump putt approach, and he pins it from, what, 50 meters?
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of Eetu's strengths. Having that putting, that clean stroke, even from 40, 50 meters out. And talking about a clean stroke, that looked very clean from Niklas, but unable to draw chains. Let's see if Jesse can do better.
Just shy, and really a common distance to find yourself at on this hole. Paul Ulibarri, though, does find it for his par save there. Really solid stuff, but it's difficult to catch Jesse when he's gotten the majority of the birdies so far. Both him and Niklas look to be taking their first pars here.
Yeah, really not a bad par to take. 67% of the field taking the par on this hole, and it is also one of only 4 holes that are averaging over par during this final round. So it's not a hole you should be too ashamed if you take a par on.
From top competition to the new players. From supporting women to funding new courses. PDGA Europe is much more than competition. Visit pdga.com/join and grow the sport.
Moving on to a par 3 that definitely has the chance to create some separation, 133 meters. You have this gap off the tee, though the gap is pretty wide. It's not rare to miss this gap, but I would say that at least 3/4 of the shots usually hit the gap. And after that, it's all about getting the right distance and especially the right angle. 133 meters means that you need to throw a fast fairway driver or a distance. Let's see if Hjalte Jensen on the chase card can get a good hold of this drive.
You see a piercing flat release with a very overstable disc as it swings back just in time. Picture perfect drive there from Hjalte.
And a young player from Estonia, Roland Kaur, only 16 years old. I find it crazy that we have 2 16-year-olds in the top 2 cards of such an elite event. And he's going to be just outside the circle there. Though Roland has been putting really good in the early season. And that's another one of those clean, hard-thrown putts.
Yeah, incredible. Even already by his young age has been on MDG media multiple times. Such a high level of play, I think, speaks volumes about the state of the sport right now, particularly in Europe, still blossoming and growing at a rapid rate. And we love to see it. Our lead card here potentially knowing that there's a lot of very strong players on the chase looking to find their way to the podium. We'll see Jesse up first. Has this quite wide and is redirected into early left. That is one of the worst places to be. That'll be a tough scramble.
Yeah, I don't think we have seen a player that deep in the left side bushes yet. It's possible that Jesse might have a really difficult lean out sidearm from there. Let's see, Niklas here a little bit low on the release. Didn't quite get all the way down to the green, but he's gonna have a similar range putt as we just saw Roland hitting. And Paul, too high on the left side, needs to stay right in order to have an approach to the green. I think that's gonna be manageable for him, being a strong forehand player.
Eetu here with a great looking adjustment right down the middle. The late stability is found. And he dings it. Eetu Tuominen here to play. Really nicely done.
And I love to see that from Niklas. You know, Niklas being much more experienced, giving Eetu some love, you know, after hitting his best shot of the round so far. And look at this. After Paul's good approach, Jesse doesn't even have a chance to get to the green from there.
So a couple strokes will be found by his cardmates here onto Jesse, still left with that short distance. We go to Niklas, and this is Anttila range, but he's just a little bit low there.
Now this is kind of a big putt for Jesse for bogey, and that's really well done. I feel like something he has done very well so far in this tournament are those edge of circle one putts, and something that he has practiced well in the off-season.
Yeah, with or without the step as well. He seems very comfortable as these guys get to them in the basket. We see from Eetu here, he joins the two players who were able to park this hole off the tee. One of two right there. Really nicely done. This, however, is a very difficult hole to find the bullseye of. Hole 5, a 106-meter par 3. Players will be looking to throw a straight shot with a strong finish to the right late in the flight. Anything that gets over to the right too early will enter the tree line and be significantly obstructed. Even if you do manage to make it to the green, you still have these 4 large guardians as well as the low ceiling to contend with. So very common that a good throw will leave you here in circle 2 with a long look.
Yeah, good play here. Might be a backhand roller or some overstable forehand. And Eetu here going for the roller. This has really nice angle on it, but just going too far. I believe had he thrown slightly more understable of a disc, it would have curled up quicker. But that's gonna be an unfortunate OB and a long par putt left.
Niklas as well. Trying to shape. I thought it looked like a roller again from his walk-up, but I think that was just a pure air shot. Paul, however, is looking to roll this and has it very wide. He needs it to swing to the right in time. And there you see Elias, an example of a slightly flippier roller from Paul.
Yeah, really nice weight on the shot. I would have loved to see that Paul's roller if it was a little bit more inside. And talking about inside, here's the inside forehand from Jesse, who has made it to that perfect step putt range. 10.5 meters, that's the range he really loves to use those step putts from.
Niklas, really solid bid from way out there. Paul as well has this long look. Gets it on the Anheuser and wills that one into the chains. Great stuff.
Yeah, just incredible to see that Paul's, unique style, putting it on Anheuser high above the basket, even on the left side of the basket, and just dropping it in. That's years of experience, just knowing what airspace you have to put the disc in.
We saw the veteran move, but the rookie as well coming in here and making the putt. Simply an age, Paul Ulibarri has been with the PDGA longer than Eetu Tuominen has been alive. Pretty impressive that these guys are playing on such a high level together here for us, and absolutely pure on the putting line.
Yeah, that's a crazy stat. I believe as Jesse is putting it and surprisingly missing. I was really expecting him to make it from that preferred range. But yeah, I saw somebody was commenting online about the age difference of Paul Ulibarri and Eetu Tuominen that Paul could literally be Eetu's father, and that would be quite reasonable.
I don't know how Paul is going to feel about that if he listens to this, but he knows that he's playing at the top against a very competitive and stacked field right now. We got hole 6.
Hole number 6. A straight tunnel shot, if you want it, if you're comfortable with that straight shot, it is absolutely the best way to get down all the way to the basket. But if you're not quite comfortable hitting that gap, there is a great option of going left of all of the trees with either a wide anhyzer shot or even a wide forehand hyzer, though I would expect most of the players to be going down straight.
We once again go to our chase card. Roland playing the aggressive turnover out the left side. That cameraman wants to show us something. I think he's given himself a long look there. Super wide straddle to accommodate the awkward space available. Wow.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say about that, but it's incredible how much speed he gets out of the hand. We're back to lead card here. Paul Ulibarri pulling it right a little bit. If this gets through, it still has potential to be within putting distance. And that's definitely going to be the case. He's pin high to the left. Going to have a couple of trees to contend with.
Eetu getting that nice hyzer release through the gap, flipping after it makes it through, and just a little bit short, but a good throw to give himself that birdie look. We'll go to Niklas, I think, looking to recreate an angle that he just saw. Just a tad early to the left, he will be caught on that fallen limb, but again, another long and common landing zone, but a long look to the basket.
And Jesse here showing the other line. This has usually good potential for circle 2, as is the case for Jesse as well. About maybe 14 meters, a bit of a low ceiling, which he ends up hitting on the putt, but no damage there. A couple of tough putts for the other 3 guys.
Yeah, you can see how difficult it is to really pierce the green. All of these guys getting caught at grass's edge, and Eetu Tuominen just stone cold. Stripes it once again as he moves to 19 under now. You see Paul just off the cage. Matter of millimeters there.
Yeah, Eetu getting a stroke on the card with that putt. Is it only me, or are you getting some Gannon Burr vibes from Eetu as well?
I can see it. Young man, tall, long frame, super spinny putt, and fantastic in the spotlight. Here we are on hole number 7, the 93-meter island hole. This par 3, fairly manageable to hit the island. It's quite wide. The common danger here is just long of the basket. No more than 5 or so meters behind it, you will find OB. And there's a drop zone if you don't make it onto the island. Makeable putt, but a little bit scary. I like the use of overstability in disc choice here to mitigate some of that danger long. A lot of players will just try to end 5 to 7 meters short of the basket.
And Eetu here after getting the box a little bit low out of the hand. This needs some good skip at the end to be within putting distance, and that's gonna be the case. No more than 9 meters. And Paul with flex sidearm, very common play on this hole.
And he crashes in on edge. A lot of ground play here off the path, but does settle in time. Niklas going backhand hyzer flip here. I think at low speed disc to ensure that he doesn't push the distance, and a beautiful soft landing through the bullseye. Short putt left for him. No surprise we see Jesse going forehand.
Yeah, impressive to get there with that slow disc forehand and perfect control on a hole that you really want to birdie. This hole and the 2 holes coming up to end the front 9 are really scoreable. As we see Eetu there, great putt. Even after Paul missing from, I believe, in the circle.
And Jesse here, now with another chance to regain the solo lead. Finds that birdie to move to 23 under.
Yeah, seems like lead card is making pretty easy work of this hole, as to be expected. Only 93 meters and nothing really in the way. Wind is probably the most difficult part about this one. Not hole 8 though, as this is just a beautiful straight shot. Perfect width of the fairway for such a short hole. If you hit it good, you're gonna be in the circle every time. But if you're a little bit off on your mental game, you can easily pull it to the right or slip it out early to the left. A lot of players even throwing some sidearms here to feel more comfortable with hitting the gap, since with the sidearm you can see the gap through the entire shot.
I really enjoy this hole. Despite being 68 meters, it requires a lot of the player. To be confident in the disc and shape you choose, to have the mental focus to execute what should be at this level considered an easy shot. You see Eetu filter up nicely, ending softly to the right. He's in the circle. And I love how many approaches we see from the players on how to navigate this. Niklas chooses the low forehand and gets a lovely glide off the trees.
And this is a really good shot shape for Jesse, although he pulls it to the left, and I think the statistics agree with you calling this an easy hole, as almost half the field is getting the birdie. And Paul Ulibarri is going to be one of them.
Yeah, really solid. Hole 8, tied with hole 7 actually, in terms of percentage of the field that were parked here in hole 3. Considered bullseye off the tee, that is 16% for both holes 7 and 8. So these two combined are holes a lot of players are going to want to pick up to maintain the pace with the top in the field. And Eetu has put 3 together in a row now, looking really confident.
And Niklas there, good tap in. I think that's something that really tells about the overall confidence of a player, is how they're looking on the green. You know, because putting is the most mentally challenging part in disc golf. It's in a way so easy, but when you're a little bit nervous, that basket just seems to get so much smaller. And talking about smaller, talk about the small and the bigger gaps on hole number 8, Connor.
Hole number 9. We see this early Mando to the right, forcing players into the fairway. You want a shot. A lot of players will throw an Anheuser backhand that sort of flattens out towards the end. The roller is also available, or the forehand hyzer being perhaps the most traditional line. Once you can break out of those thick trees, you open up into this nice basin green with a back slope. It encourages players to really give it a run and a good aggressive approach. We see Hjalte here on the chase card. Very aggressive roller player. And he skips over a tree, seemingly.
Yeah, just going for the power roller, and he's scrambling from the left side now, although very possible to get up and down, as he shows with a nice slow disc sidearm there. Just 7 meters left here for the birdie. Probably no problem for Hjalte, playing as the best player in Denmark right now.
And he always gets a ton of support here in Valby Park. We go back to our lead card. We see Eetu now shaping the Anheuser air shot backhand, and really nicely done. That late stability, so important, and fantastic spot there. Progress up the fairway on the tee shot makes the second much less stressful, as you remove a lot of the gaps that you need to hit by getting every 5 meters extra or more. You have one less gap you need to hit, and Niklas has done the same.
And Paul here, no surprises, going with the sidearm. He's very accurate with the sidearm, usually that one being pulled a little bit to the left, but with a good kiss off the tree, he's gonna be in good position. And yes, a more hyzer, a little bit more inside, though hitting the same tree. Very surprising to see both forehands too wide.
We see Jesse up first here. Catches the hill's edge and with that high skip pulls him just outside the circle. He's once again in that stepping range, about 12 meters or so. Paul as well going to be trying to hit this biggest left side gap with the soft flex. But he gets kicked out left. He'll also be left with a long look at best.
And Niklas here showing what that long drive of the tee can get you with a very easy forehand approach. Probably going to be something similar for Eetu. And you can just see how close he is to the gap. Just a chip shot to the green from there.
And he only had one gap to hit remaining. Fantastic drive. We go to Paul. Gives it that nose up anhyzer once again. Slides a touch long, but if you've watched some earlier rounds, you know about Paul's C1. We see Jesse's C2. Incredible. Just high right side. Pure confidence. And speaking with Jesse, he told me he's putting right now with the Reiko X and really feeling it.
Yeah, you can see that his putting has been so good this tournament. And Paul, whose putting normally is quite literally the best in the world, he's, at least before the tournament, he was leading the world in C1X putting, as you, Connor, mentioned in an earlier round.
Yeah, incredible. I believe coming into this tournament with just over 93% C1 in the 2024 season. He's hitting new heights. I think traditionally and historically, anything near 90 would be at the top of the field, and he's continuing to push that percentage as the sport just gets better every year, Elias. And we see that in the standings here. Jesse still holding solo first. However, a lot of players tied in second. The field is playing really well, and it's a tight battle.
Yeah, we see so many players from the chasing down as they're supposed to. These players will not only have to be worried about each other on the back, but also everybody else in the field. It's getting tight. Please come back for the back nine. It will be exciting, I'm sure. Thank you, Connor, once again for doing commentary with me.
Thank you, Elias. Thank you to our viewers. And make sure to tune in to the final 9 holes. We'll see you there.